Hello. Okay, so I'm not a counselor. I'm technically an expert because it's my life. But I'm just here to I'm trying not to say just. I'm trying to get out of saying just before everything. I am here to share my method of unpacking your boxes, because we have multiple boxes for real. Setting boundaries, how to get back to yourself, whether going through a breakup, loss of a job. Do you like my split? Okay. The reason why I wanted to get on here and talk about this is because during the tarot reading this morning and yesterday, and just based off my own personal experience, boundaries has been like the key theme. Loving yourself, self-respecting, not people pleasing, letting go of fear of rejection, letting go of fear of disappointment, letting go of fear of abandonment, seeking validation and approval outside of yourself. I just got out of a relationship that I should have never been in. I love him, and you have bonds and you can connect with people because we all have different planets and signs in our charts and our houses. So of course, me and him connected um, in some ways, but the boundaries for me, I did not lay out boundaries that align with my values. So I was really lying to myself, hurting my own self, choosing to not love myself, choosing to be nice to him rather than kind, because I'm just trying to appease and please and seek approval and avoid conflict. But we'll get into that. So, what is unpacking the box? The box is discontentment or a negative feeling or experience, right? And you need to unpack the box to know what the gift is, which the gift is the belief. Because really, every emotion or feeling or thought that we have comes from some type of self limiting belief that we have kept subconsciously since childhood, whether it's something your parents have taught you, whether it's something that you went through as a child or adolescent, and it formed or shaped your perspective for how things are, whether it's how you perceive things to be right or wrong, how you perceive things to be good or bad, mistakes, failures, successes, etc. So once you know what that gift, that belief is, and you're able to make a conscious choice once aware to release or polish the belief. So unpacking the box, before we get into what I do to unpack boxes. So tips and tricks, right? What this does is it helps you to truly know yourself beyond the ego identity, right? So beyond this facade or this illusion of this identity that we keep up because we are trying to protect ourselves, right? Becoming aware and understanding your ego rather than it taking over you. So knowing that you have a other side, like the yin and the yang, right? But not allowing it to run the wheel. Like it's not taking over the wheel. Like we ain't I know you're here and I can use you for certain things, but you're not about to be the boss. In order to do this, unpacking the box, because sometimes when you want to do shadow work, it starts to stress you out because it's like work. I mean, it has work in it already. So immediately, depending on how you perceive work, you hear inner work or shadow work, and you might have negative emotions towards it and see it as something that you actually have to do and schedule and make time for, right? Which you really do. But you should value the relationship with yourself so much so that you want to reflect at the end of your day what you've been through, what you've been feeling, what you've been thinking, what you actually went through during the day. Like treat yourself like your spouse, right? Like someone you dated. Like get to know you. Um Be carefree and not careful, right? And I read that today. So choosing to seek this in new perspective. And that's where the choice starts, right? That's where we start making choices once we decide what our perspective is. So, how to unpack your box, right? First step is write down that emotion, identify the emotion, write it down, situation or thought that is causing your disharmony. So, whatever person, emotion, situation, experience that's bringing up that disharmony within you, write it down. How is it making you feel? Where is this emotion being felt in your body, right? When was the last time you felt this? When was the first time you felt this? And that's important. So when was the last time you felt this? Is probably going to bring up something that happened like yesterday, the day of, a week ago, whatever. Reflect on that. And then ask yourself, when was the first time I felt this? And wait for it. Don't force the answer. Wait for yourself to give it to you, right? And it's going to pop back to your childhood. I guarantee it. If it don't, come back here and tell me. Comment and say it didn't pop back to my childhood. I guarantee it's something from your childhood, right? Then you know where it's from. You know the experience that this belief stemmed from to create this emotion. Now you need to identify what belief was created from this experience. What did you form to believe based off of whatever it is? So, for example, I don't like when someone doesn't respond to me. Like someone I'm involved with, like I'm dating. Like if I text you and we're going through something and I know you're ignoring me, like that, I could feel the disharmony within me. And so I had to sit with myself and say, okay, like when was the last time I felt this? Like the time he like turned the music up on you, right? And I was like, hey, when was the first time I felt this? And what's crazy was it was like the fear of rejection. So it went all the way back to me being a baby and being left in the crib crying and shit for hours. And my mom was like, yeah, I left you in the crib for like 3-4 hours. She said, sometimes all night. So would you cry all night till you went to sleep? Like, just imagine as a baby, like I probably felt so alone and scared. Who knows, you know? And I held on to that subconsciously so much so where I crave I fear rejection and I fear being left alone. And so I had to change that belief. Like I am comfortable and centered in my own solitude, right? And I do not control nobody. Because really all these things come from us other people or things not conforming to what we want. And then we start having our little tantrums and shit, right? How to probe yourself to be open to yourself. So these are some things that you can kind of like poke at yourself to like get yourself to open up. The best way is to ask yourself like, or just make a statement. I hate it when, I am so angry that, I am fed up with, I am filled with rage when, I feel so disappointed, the thing that hurts me is and why, this makes me sad because, I'm afraid that blank. So, and then you want to affirm yourself after that, right? So experience your thoughts, recognize them, and then change the experience that's happening outside the body. So recognizing how you're feeling within yourself, and then changing your perspective so that your reality changes, if that makes sense. These stories that we tell ourselves, he hurt me, she hurt me, I was abused, I'm a victim, I'm a survivor. Like all these stories that we have for these identities that we've created based off the experiences that we've been through are really just belief systems, right? And I'm only looking down because I got my notes. Okay. What stories are we telling ourselves? Because in which story are you going to choose to make the reality that you see and that you live? What I've noticed is during this process of finding myself, or like not even finding myself, but knowing myself, is to give myself grace and space. Like really take my time. This is not something that's just easy. Like I know I'm saying it like it's like brushing your teeth or something. Like no, this is something that's like commitment, like dedicating time to like seek clarity about who you are, invest in yourself, right? Like make it a priority to invest in knowing who you are so that when you do find yourself in challenges, it doesn't take you off balance. Like you're able to remain centered no matter what challenge you go through, right? So really taking your time, breathing before responding. If that means you need to tell somebody like, hey, I need like 2 days before I can talk to you about this. Like that's a boundary. That's a guideline. That's perfectly fine. If that person has a problem with that, they're not it, right? Be willing, open, and soft with yourself. It's not a time to rush this. Like, don't feel like you gotta change something today. Like, oh, I know I fear rejection. Oh my gosh, like I need to fix that today. There's nothing to fix about yourself. It's just something to know about yourself. And once you become aware of it, I swear you accept it in a way where you love yourself and you have no choice but to better it, like because you're aware of it, so you know how to modify it, you know how to redirect it, you know how to make sure that you're at peace. That's the key, is keeping your peace. Be honest with yourself even if it's unpleasant. So don't just focus on the good things about you. Like it's the moment, this is a time to focus on the things that are so unpleasant. Like be content in your discontentment, the things that really are shifting you, right? If it's unpleasant, right? Find out why it's making you uncomfortable and why you're feeling bad or perceiving this as something that's bad. Even if you see it as a bad thing, right? Like, for example, I lied to my ex and I was so guilty. Like, I felt so much shame and guilt from lying. But I really had to understand that I wasn't lying to him, I was lying to myself, right? And I had to accept that. Like, and tell myself. So tell yourself, like, breathe, take a deep breath, and tell yourself, like, I accept this about me. Like, I accept that when I don't lay out a boundary with and stand firm on my boundaries and stick to my values, that I end up lying to myself and eventually lying to the person that I'm with. Try to keep the peace and please him rather than focus on my needs. I put his needs before my own. I put his desires before my own. Like, how dare I, right? So once you accept this, it's like accepting all and acknowledging your mistakes, but choosing not to allow it to define your worth. So I'm acknowledging that I told a lie. I'm accepting that I told a lie to myself, which harmed others. I'm acknowledging and I'm accepting that, right? But I'm not allowing it to define my worth. It's not going to dilute my essence. It's just something that I had to go through and learn in order to become who I'm supposed to be. If I didn't go through that, I would not know that. Well, I could have kept going and never learned, but I luckily and gratefully, thankfully, I learned And I understood that I didn't lay out a boundary. I took the time and invested in myself to find out why I'm feeling the things I'm feeling, why I'm going through the things I'm going through. And it takes you back to your past. I promise you, you will get a flash memory, a thought, whatever, a feeling. You'll know. The answers are within you, I swear. Because when I ask, I receive. I literally ask myself, like, okay, when did this start? And it showed me standing in the kitchen, like telling him on the phone, like, hey, that's a boundary of mine. Like, I don't date men that mess with other women. Like, I really said it out loud to him. And I still chose to be with him. Like, what did I expect to happen? I'm just saying. Even if I was honest with him, right? And showed up authentically as me, we wouldn't have lasted. That's period. I am a Sagittarius. Like, he used to try to tame my fire so much. I am a fire sign. I'm meant to be passionate about everything that I'm doing. It's just what it is. It's how I talk. Shit. He used to tell me to change the way I talk, the way I walk, the way I move, the way everything. And then would tell me that he loves all of me. Like, how, if you want me to change all these things that are naturally just me? And then I didn't realize, like, okay, I don't know if he was communicating wrong or if he was really just talking about everything about me. But the things that were important that he should have addressed were me putting his needs before my own. But he was a narcissist. That's another video for another motherfucking day. We ain't talking about narcissists in this video today. Okay, so shit. During this time, you want to make sure you're uplifting yourself rather than criticizing yourself. Be kind and compassionate as you would for others, right? And this is the time of forgiveness. When you're setting boundaries and unpacking your box, you are forgiving yourself no matter what. You are forgiving other people no matter what, because it builds your self-worth. Forgiving yourself builds your self-worth. When you're going through the day, just you're identifying and writing down what these boxes are, you want to observe yourself rather than identify with these things, right? Because we always identify with the protector side of ourselves. Like I was saying earlier, that identity that protects us, that keeps us safe, that makes us feel secure or comfortable, when really it's not doing us any good for our growth, our development, our transformation, our enlightenment, our healing. It's just keeping us stagnant, right? Trace the emotion back to yourself to find the belief and polish it or release it. So you'll know it's a belief when it starts with should, must, wrong or right, bad or good, this or that, coulda, shoulda, woulda. So make a list of those that you have placed blame on, and change the blame and put it on yourself. Make a list of those you have placed blame on and change it by putting the blame on yourself. See everyone as a mirror to what you are either missing in yourself or what you are needing to release. There's no need to overanalyze or fix yourself. It's a moment to accept yourself no matter what. We are culturally made to overanalyze ourselves. So that's something also to unpack, is unpacking that box of needing to criticize and overanalyze and fix yourself. You are perfect the way you are. I'm not saying you're out here, being disgusting or disturbing other lives. It's like just knowing who you are and being okay with it. Is it really bad? Is it really good? Is it really wrong? Is it really right? Is it really pain? Or is it just what the fuck it is? Why are we putting all these labels on everything? That's when you start feeling emotions to things. You got to let go of this label on things. And I promise you, you're breaking free. You're letting go of attachment. You start looking at things just as they are, even yourself. The way to take back your power, right? First of all, when I say taking back your power, you know you're losing your power when you've been allowing too much, right? That you'll know when you're allowing. You everyone I feel like feels that feeling when you're tolerating somebody or something. You're allowing things to happen. You're no longer in control of what happens to you, right? That is setting boundaries. Taking back your power equals setting boundaries. So I know there's like this negative connotation around boundaries, like it creates distance between people. Like even my ex was like, I don't really like the word boundaries, like let's change it. Like he didn't want me using it. He said no to the boundary word. But boundaries are guidelines. They're not walls. They're not like, hey, defense. It's like, hey, map. Okay? Because if you are trying to love me and get to know me or be around my energy, here's a map of how to stay around. Okay? Here's a map how to get to the heart. Period. Because people feel that it creates a distance when in fact it creates a stronger bond because it allows each other, like me and the other person, to show up authentically, which is the purest form of love, right? Because you're letting go of that fear of rejection and you start respecting this person naturally. You don't even know what they want to respect, but it just feels like respect. So we also have to set boundaries with ourselves, right? And not just others. So the yeses and the nos, the things that we do want to happen and things that we do not want to happen, things that we will continue to do, things that we will not continue to do, right? Things that we will allow to happen, things that we will not allow to happen. I can't help. I can't help it, y'all. I'm trying to cover it. I'm trying. We want to set boundaries because we don't want to teach others that our needs and our feelings come secondary. We want them to know, like, now these motherfuckers come first. Because I can only do my best here if I'm whole, if I feel whole. Holding your ground sets the standard of how you should be treated. So don't settle. I don't care, y'all. It don't matter where they from, how far they are, how much money they got, what sweet shit they spitting on you that day. It don't matter. What do you value? Do they meet your needs and your wants? Fuck the ego wants. I'm talking about the spiritual, the things that gonna get you on the right path, right? They keep you focused on a line with values and goals. So homework is make a list of your values and really take time and think about it. Like take a moment, take some time out at the end of the day or the beginning of the day and really think about what you value, what you truly genuinely care about, like that you stand for, that you ain't moving or shifting on. If you have a problem with it, I even had to Google. Okay, I Googled it just to get some examples, and then once I saw like the concept, I was able to kind of dive deep into myself and get my own. And then you want to make a list of what you want and need. And after you have those two lists, three technically, you want to start your list of boundaries for self, and then you want to start your list for boundaries for others. Because once you have your values established and you have your needs and your wants, it's easy to kind of guide, where you stand on and what you will not allow based off of these things. Make sure they're aligned. Like if you know you want respect, you know you value respect and you need respect, then your boundary is I will respect myself by putting my needs first. I will respect others by valuing their needs or their needs needing to be met. I think I said that wrong. Let me get another one. I will not criticize myself because I value being kind and compassionate to myself and others, and I need peace. So when you're making a list of boundaries, think about what you need to feel respected, loved, and valued. If someone pushes back, then it's a sign that they're not for you. And you'll know because people who truly love and respect you will respect your boundary. Trust your judgment and trust your feelings always. Always. I'm not playing y'all. I mean, I might have a certain gift of intuition, but I I am not going back on my gut no more. I'm not going back on my feelings and I'm not going back on my judgment. Like I'm really trusting myself with everything. Even if I want to go get some for some French fries and I get this feeling like not right now. My ass ain't going. Period. I'm really trusting myself. Boundaries allow you to make choices aligned with your values, which instills self-worth and self-respect. The more you respect, the more others will as well. Self-worth is not from the validation or approval of others. Validation from others is fleeting, always changing, like a constant emotional roller coaster. Know that you are deserving of the best and do not dilute your essence. I'm going to say it again. You are deserving of the best, and you do not need to dilute your essence for anything or anyone. Whatever your best is, good, better, best, never let it rest until your good is better and your better is best. That was my college, university motto. Good, better, best, never let it rest till your good is better and your better is best. That's period. Step into being and let go of pretending. Being nice and not kind or respectful. So there's a difference between being nice and being kind, right? Because you're in that state of people pleasing or seeking outside validation or approval when you're being nice. Like you're trying to avoid conflict or avoid disappointment, avoid rejection. Um, but getting into reality and accepting what needs to be accepted, surrendering to the truth because you can make decisions about thoughts and actions that will put you into a position of power. So once you become aware of these things, you're able to know how to move. It's like playing chess. We become obsessed with what we can't do. Think about what you can do, not what you can't do. And be true to you. Be honest with you brutally. Get in the mirror. I have a whole mirror in my room. I wouldn't even say it's my room. It's just a room in the house. And I sit in there and I look at myself and I talk to myself. Like I'm my best friend. Like I'm sitting there talking to myself like, you know, you know you did that. You know you did that because of this. Well, we ain't doing that again. That's how you. I swear, because you gotta laugh with yourself. You gotta be kind and compassionate and like don't take things so serious because for what? Everyone else is hard on you because they're trying to make you fit their standard and put you in their reality. But it's time for you to just be you. Okay. Ways to increase your confidence. How you can increase your confidence and what ways can you increase your confidence? One, write out what you approve of in yourself. Write out what you love about yourself. Get out of the position of victim. Let go of blame. Everything is about you. It's like if you lie, you're lying to yourself. If you steal, you're stealing to yourself. If you cheat, you're cheating yourself. If you abuse, you're abusing yourself. It has nothing to do with the other person. It has nothing to do with the other person. And if someone cheated on you, they cheated themselves. Don't take that shit personally. Why would you want to do that? Why are you taking all that heat? I'm not taking that heat. You broke the commitment with yourself, bruh. I'm good over here. I stood. Like, um, This is my favorite one: response and ability, right? So, how are we responding, and what do we have the ability to do to change how we respond? So, you always have the ability to respond to bring about what you want, which is responsibility. I'm going to say it again: response and ability. You always have the ability to respond to bring about what you want, responsibility. You need to make sure you are in the position of cause and not effect. Be the cause, not the effect. Recognize your role in the situation and change based on the situation. So adapt to the cause instead of the effect. So knowing your role, knowing where you don't focus on no one else but you, basically. You are not the blame, they are not the blame. But what about you did you learn, and what about you do you want to change? I don't like that word change. I like to say release or let go of, because really you're just polishing something. You're just making something look or making something better. You're not really changing it. It's not going nowhere. It's still there. Okay? It's not going nowhere. It's just we're making it what we want it to be because we're aware of it now. Affirm. Let's affirm. I love myself. I accept myself. These are just some examples so that you can pick yourself up. Because once you unpack a box, sometimes you aren't in the best mood. Like, but that's also a choice. Like, I did something the other day, and even though I understood, it still kind of had me a little fucked up. Cause it's like, damn, I would. You start to like feel like, which is where you catch yourself. You start to feel like, damn, I wish I would have knew this before, but it's like, nah, I needed to. It's okay. You needed to go through it. If you didn't go through it, I swear you would still be doing the same shit. You would not be trying to change nothing. I accept myself. I am myself. I forgive myself. I accept myself. I said that twice. I didn't know I wrote that twice. I release control and surrender to what is. I release shame, guilt, and regret from the past. I forgive myself for any pain or abuse I have placed upon myself and others in this lifetime and any past lives. I release the need to be perfect. I release the need to know why. I release the need to be needed. I am the validation I have been seeking. I put all day, but it should be always. Yep. I hope this helps you. I hope you don't see this as work and you actually like take the time and explore yourself, create that relationship with yourself, start really valuing your relationship with yourself, um, being comfortable in your uncomfortableness, being content in your discontentment, releasing fears, releasing people and things and beings and situations that no longer serve you, that do not bring you peace. You deserve peace. You deserve all that you need. It's time to lay out them boundaries. And I feel like this should be taught in school. Like I'm about to teach my kid. My kids are 7, 6, and 5. I'm about to teach them about boundaries. I'm about to start respecting their boundaries and teaching them mine. And I wrote something down that I didn't say. We don't demand respect. We model it. We model it. We don't demand it. Be the love that you seek. Have a great night.